Wayne meets Clark Kent. I love it. I love bringing people together. Lex, it is a pleasure. Ow! Wow, that is a good grip. You should not pick a fight with this person.
Hello, I'm Lucy from GameSpot, joined here by Luke Westaway from CNET. We've both seen Batman vs Superman, and we're kind of desperate to talk about it, and so we're going to do a spoiler-filled chat. We're going to touch upon, like, the 5 biggest plot points from the movie. Admittedly, all of them have been spoiled by the trailer in some regard.
That's true, but nevertheless, this is your official spoiler warning, so...
If you haven't seen the movie, turn back now.
Be warned.
And don't watch any trailers. So our first point that we're going to talk about is the fact that Batman either just outright breaks or really strongly bends his no-kill rule.
Yeah, Batman only really has one rule. Like, you can mess around with the outfit and the car and everything, but sort of the one thing that makes Batman Batman is that he's a vigilante who doesn't kill people, or at least tries very hard not to. And I get that it's a very dark vision that you know of the film. Like the DC universe, as Zack Snyder imagines it, is like unremittingly bleak, really depressing. But that said, especially seeing as this is the first time you're meeting this Batman, and it's his first sort of on-screen outing, it's a bit getting off on the wrong foot to have his Batwing, like, Tokyo drifting around a corner and a bunch of machine guns coming out and, like, blowing up some cars that are full of people. Yeah. What do you think?
I agree. No, I mean, because I think the point that I'm trying to make is, like, Batman is really, he's had 20 years of fighting crime in Gotham.
He's fed up.
He is fed up.
He needs a holiday.
Alfred's on his back, giving him all this. And so Batman is just sort of, he's at the end of his tether, and what he's started to do is to brand. This is a plot point I did not understand.
Yeah.
He started to brand enemies, like he's taken
like
a batarang,
you know?
heated it up somehow, and brands the enemies. And that, for some reason, is a death wish when they're in prison. But if you think about it, Blackgate Prison in Gotham City, at least 70% of the criminals there will be there because of Batman. So I don't understand how this is a death wish, because then everyone would be dead.
Yeah, you'd think if you were in prison and someone came up and they had like a Batman brand, you'd just be like, oh cool, you had a fight with Batman. What was it like? Let's trade stories, let's try and figure out the weaknesses in his armor and his fighting style. But like, again, like when I was actually watching the movie, it didn't occur to me as being especially stupid. It was just afterwards, after the movie finished. Like it just sort of holds together while you're watching it, I think. I didn't hate the film, but afterwards, I was a bit, huh? There's some really, really terrific scenes, and some really, really terrific moments, but confused.
All right, next up, Lois Lane was shit.
There's no reason why Superman's love interest, Lois Lane, has to be just Superman's love interest and exists solely to be rescued. But it does feel a little bit in this film like that is her main
Well, I mean, how many
function.
times did she get rescued in this film?
As far as I can remember, 3 times.
Yeah.
And you know, she's got other stuff to do apart from that, but not a whole lot. And she's a little bit frustratingly sort of slow off the mark, and she's not like, I think we've become used to superhero movies where they have sort of mortal, human, ordinary sidekicks, but who turn out to be sort of more helpful than you'd think, kind of like Foggy Nelson in Daredevil, or...
Don't bring Foggy into this.
I know you don't like Foggy, but he's great, go Foggy. But we've got used to that, and so when, for example, Lex Luthor pushes Lois off of a skyscraper, in an effort to attract and lure Superman. It's a Superman trap that Lois knows about, and then Superman catches her and lowers her gently to the ground, and then they sort of stand there for about 5 seconds looking at each other, and Lois doesn't feel the need to voice, like, don't go back up there, it's a trap.
Yeah.
And I don't want to nitpick over the script, but I feel that's emblematic of a problem with her character that I hope they fix going forward, because she can be cool.
That's the thing, like in Man of Steel, she figured out that Clark Kent was Superman, like, before anyone else. I think even before he figured it out. Lois is also responsible for, like, the dumbest moment of this movie, and that is saying a lot.
This is a bit near the end.
Yeah. Yep. So, Lex Luthor's found a big bunch of kryptonite. Bruce Wayne has stolen it, killing a bunch of dudes in the process, and has fashioned it into a spear that can kill Kryptonians if, they pierce the skin and get in there.
If you stab, like a regular spear. Those are the rules.
So, Clark and Bruce, Batman and Superman, stop their fighting. Batman doesn't get a chance to use the spear on Superman, and it's just sort of lying on the floor. So Lois takes it, I guess in an attempt to get it away from Clark, but she just dumps it in a pool of water.
I think she's trying to be helpful, But like
She
the pool,
tries.
but it's just a pool of water. Like it's not like a, it's not safe there, right? It's not.
Yeah, it's not
out
like-
of reach. She dives in to try and get it when she needs. It turns out they need the spear to kill the big Uruk-hai monster thing that sort of pops up at the end. Doomsday, right? In the DC
Doomsday.
universe. But then, like, she can't get out and she's trapped, and Superman has to rescue her, and she just ends up being unhelpful again.
Just bordering into complete uselessness. All right, next up, we're going to talk about the confusing motivations of Lex Luthor and his ultimate creation, Doomsday.
Lex Luthor is given a lot of free reign in this movie to sort of be part of whatever government think tank or research team he wants. And again, because you sort of haven't met him before, you're a bit like, who is this guy? He looks about 18 and he's in charge of a company, and I guess he's a genius. He seems like a genius.
Well, you can tell he's a genius billionaire playboy because he wears trainers to work and he plays basketball and he doesn't have an office. So when the government officials come, he meets them in like a food court in his office.
He's got this like Mark Zuckerberg vibe going on, which I guess isn't surprising considering it's Jesse Eisenberg who played Mark Zuckerberg in The Social Network. I thought Jesse Eisenberg was trying, he was making a really good go of it, but like the Lex Luthor dialogue is weird. He sort of talks in these slightly tortured metaphors a lot about demons and philosophy and humans, and that kind of seems to be his whole motivation, right? He just wants to talk about gods.
I thought his whole motivation was that his dad hit him as a child. Because that seems to be the only real motivation that he has.
That's definitely the only revelation that we get about Lex, isn't it? Near the end, it's sort of in a throwaway line, he mentions that, that his dad hit him, which is horrible, possibly not dealt with in a particularly sensitive way in the film, and then quickly sort of glossed over. He has a kind of idiosyncratic dialogue, which I can imagine on the script looked sort of great, but when you actually sort of see it, he's kind of like going, the bell has been rung, ding, 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 ding.
Oh,
ding,
and
ding,
the bit where he genuinely says, ahoy hoy.
Hoi, hoi.
But no, so he finds the kryptonite, it ends up getting stolen, and he doesn't seem to care about that at all, which is quite bizarre. But then what he does is he finds the downed Krypton ship from Man of Steel. Oh no, he doesn't find it, he gets given it by the US government.
Yeah, thanks for that, government.
If this is what he's doing, I dread to think what Zuckerberg's up to.
And there's this weird, slightly tortured plot point about like, they'll let him, they'll give him like the alien ship and Zod's corpse, but they won't let him import some kryptonite. And it's just like an import tax thing, which is an almost Phantom Menace grade, boring level of plot point. It's like it's Lex Luthor. Surely he can move a rock from like one continent to another. It's just,
He finds the ship, he has General Zod's corpse. So if you were annoyed that Zod got killed by a neck snap, you're going to be even more annoyed about what happens to him because Lex cuts his hand and mixes the DNA, and that somehow makes Doomsday.
Yep.
So he's a big DC villain he's basically one of Superman's like big bad guys. If you come at him with any kind of force, he absorbs it and can use that energy himself. Also his bone, because he's like constantly evolving as well, and the bone shards sticking out of his arms can like pierce the Kryptonian skin. It was just very bizarre, and it looked a lot like the cave troll from Lord of the Rings.
A lot like the cave troll from Lord of the Rings.
Also, he had no genitals. And it seemed like his only purpose was there to like unite everyone. They pulled all these strings together to fashion a bad guy that we would care about. No one cares about.
No, it's a plot point, I guess, directly lifted from the first Avengers movie, right? You kind of have like an alien force that no one's particularly interested in, but what you're interested in is seeing all of these heroes who've been fighting all along to sort of finally make friends and sort of work together. I would say that the superhero teamwork in Batman vs Superman is not as well choreographed. Like Batman doesn't have a lot to do for the sort of final conflict.
It just sort of stands out. Wonder Woman is the one who gets stuff done.
She gets stuck in. We like Wonder Woman,
We
right?
do.
She was
Oh, yeah.
cool. She was cool.
Okay, the seeds for the Justice League movie have really awkwardly in the middle of the movie been sown. So there's no post-credits tease.
No, so you can leave.
Feel free to
Feel
leave.
free to leave. Run to the bathroom probably because it's a long movie.
And instead, Bruce Wayne manages to hack LexCorp's network, his Dropbox, essentially.
He's all up in his Twitter DMs.
And basically, Lex Luthor has created really well labeled folders on the eventual members of the Justice League. So we get our first look. For some reason there's no Green Arrow. Maybe he was busy filming his TV show. We do get to see new Flash. You get to see Ezra Miller as the Flash.
Which is odd because there's so much world building going on in Batman vs Superman, and there's so much sort of being crammed in that you'd think that the little bit of world that DC has already built, which is like the Flash TV show, you'd think they would keep that little bit of world for the big world build.
No.
You know what I mean? But
Absolutely
no, new actor, new Flash.
And then finally get to see Jason Momoa as Aquaman. This is the bit that kind of made me laugh because for a metahuman who spends his life underwater, I've never seen a more uncomfortable looking Aquarian.
Under merman.
He just sort of, he's there and he's like, he's in a sunken ship and he's got a kind of trident and he's going like, damn you kids, get off my lawn.
Like, what is this camera? I liked him. I have to say, I liked how Aquaman looked. I like how he sort of, there's a bit where he kind of goes boosh off through the sea he's like Superman but underwater, so like a much worse Superman.
And we also get to see Cyborg.
Yes.
That famous Cyborg.
Well, the one you've been waiting for, kids.
So Justice League, I mean, it hasn't really got me excited about it. There was a really strained conversation between Batman and Wonder Woman at the end where they basically said, let's make the Justice League.
Good idea.
Great, we're in.
That was easy. Justice League formed.
And it sort of hinted at the bad guy.
Yeah.
Darkseid.
Yes, that's right.
So in...
Who, weirdly, and again, you mentioned this, how odd it is, how weirdly these teasers are positioned through the film, but the kind of tease for Darkseid is like right in the middle, right, where Batman has this extended vision, or is it a dream or a premonition, in the desert, which incidentally, it contains all of the bits that you thought were coolest from the trailer, so
you know, don't expect those to be actual plot points in the movie, it's a weird vision.
It's a crazy dream.
And finally, probably the big twist, Superman is dead!
No, not
or
Superman.
Is he?
It would be such a shame if he died, because he's so great.
He's such a great character. So, Doomsday, with his bone shards, stabs him right through the heart.
Blammo!
And Superman dies.
And is buried, and he's
next to his
gone.
Dad.
And there's a parade, and the world weeps as one for the loss.
It's funny how they've turned him into a martyr again. You know, they like him now.
Yeah. The thing that it was quite frustrating, I found, watching the film, because there's quite the ending. It takes quite a long time to end.
Return of the Kings. Let's just put it that way.
It's got a Return of the King sort of vibe to it. The ending, and it feels like the film all this time is asking you to believe that Superman's dead, and it's like, come on. Like, these films exist in context. We know that the whole point of this film is to like make more Superman movies. We know he's not dead, so it really lacks that dramatic punch. Like, there's just no way you believe he's dead. So having to watch like his funeral is a bit like,
better leave now. The traffic will be bad.
Yeah.
And also to hammer the point home that he's definitely not dead, is the final shot of the movie is a close up on his casket. And Lois has just thrown soil down,
Just one handful and then she's off.
Yeah, I mean, no time for grieving. And the soil begins to rise. So you know that he's clearly using some kind of Krypton powers to heal himself.
To freak everyone out. I would like Superman to come back as a ghost.
That's probably a comic arc as well, isn't it?
To be a super ghost.
So I think the most annoying bit about the whole Superman death is that everyone knew he wasn't dead, and yet that sequence still went on for about 20 minutes.
I feel like we've been quite negative about. I mean, I know we're talking about like the biggest questions we had after seeing the movie.
Yeah,
Did you hate it? Did you hate
it?
No,
I didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it.
I actually there was some isolated moments I did really, really love. I loved the way it looked. I love the visual effects. I loved a lot about the movie, but that doesn't mean that I can't question a lot of it.
That's right, and a lot of it didn't make sense.
So if you've got any questions, comments, concerns about Batman vs Superman, chuck them in the comments below. Come find us on Twitter. Luke?
At Luke Westaway.
I'm at Lucy James Games, and for more on Batman vs Superman, make sure you keep your eyes peeled to GameSpot.com. And also CNET.